Today, we're standing united as law enforcement officers to announce our plans and strategies for several planned enforcement measures and educational training in the East Tennessee region, primarily the agencies in the Knoxville District. My coordinators and I met weeks back, and we reviewed our statistical data for this area. And we identified 4 counties that we felt needed our support and partnership to deal with the influx of fatalities that we dealt with in 2012. Those counties that we have chosen is Anderson County, Blount County, Campbell County, and Sevier County. We have also asked that the local municipalities within these counties partner with us as well as we develop our strategies and plans. The city agencies that will be participating with us will be the City of Clinton, Lake City, Norris, Oak Ridge, Alcoa, Maryville, Townsend, Carrollville, Jacksboro, La Follette, Jellicoe, Sevierville, Pittman Center, Gatlinburg, and Pigeon Forge. In Anderson County alone, from 2010 to 2012, we measured a 3-year map of what was going on. In Anderson County, we lost 31 lives just in this county alone on our roadways. They investigated 1,454 injury crashes, 3,979 property damage crashes, and 166 of those crashes involved an impaired driver. In Blount County, from this same time period, 2010 to 2012, we had 53 fatalities just in this county. They investigated 2,438 injury crashes, 6,543 property crashes, and 416 crashes involving an impaired driver. In Campbell County, from 2010 to 2012, they had 42 fatalities. They investigated 912 injury crashes, 2,035 property crashes, and 104 crashes involving an impaired driver. And finally, in Sevier County, from this same time period, they investigated 49 fatalities. They investigated 2,546 injury crashes, 6,537 property crashes, and 335 of those crashes involved an impaired driver. When you total the lives lost on our roadways just in these 4 counties alone, we lost 175 people. 175 families mourned the death of a loved one, either a mother, a father, a brother, a sister, a husband or wife, or a son and daughter. So do we have a concern in these counties? I feel we do. So you may be asking, what are we going to do to deal with this influx? One area of our plan is to continue behavioral changes with our drivers, and we have targeted this area being our teen drivers. Several of our local high schools in this area have been participating in a program called Battle of the Belt. And they've been teaching teen drivers about the importance of seatbelt usage and why it's important to put that seatbelt on and be prepared when they drive. A lot of young drivers, they know the importance of the seatbelts, they know the issue, the consequences, but a lot of times they just don't think about it when they're on the road. Those 5 high schools that are participating is the Pigeon Forge High School, Oak Ridge High School, Campbell County High School, Midway High School, and Heritage High School. We have prom season that's getting ready to start. Some are preparing and planning for their events. And schools preparing to come to an end for the school year. And we felt that our teens needed this education and preparation, because we all know the warmer weather is just right around the corner. Many of our teens, they just don't understand the dangers of driving. And we've got several driving schools here in this area that are helping these young drivers. They're helping to build their skill level and to teach them about risky behavior behind the wheel. So we're hoping that our teens will be safer drivers and just be careful in what they're doing. The second part of our plan will be enforcement. We identified 4 areas that we're very concerned about here in East Tennessee. drivers not wearing a seatbelt, aggressive driving, impaired driving, and distracted driving. As I mentioned earlier, our warmer weather is coming. We're going to see more motorcycles out here on our roadways. We're going to see more drivers traveling with their families to go on vacation and spend time with loved ones. We also know people will be attending outdoor celebrations to enjoy the season. And during that time, there will be drinking at a lot of these events. And some of these people that attend these parties will choose to drive afterwards. And that's where we feel that risky behavior behind the wheel is going to be dangerous to our citizens. We also know that many drivers are texting and driving. And every time they take that moment to text that message or to read that message, their eyes go off the roadway. And next thing you know, they're up on someone before they realize it. Someone pulls out in front of them and a crash will occur. So these are areas that we want to work toward for the next few months, or next 6 months here in East Tennessee. All of our partners, these law enforcement officers that you see behind me this morning, we are planning stepped up patrols in all the counties and all the cities that I've mentioned. We're going to be doing extra saturation patrol in all of these counties and cities. We're going to be seeing more officers out on our roadways. And these objectives that we've talked about is going to be what they're going to be looking for. We're planning numerous sobriety checkpoints throughout these 4 counties. And we're also looking at doing some seatbelt checkpoints because we are dead serious about people wearing their seatbelts. That's something we need to see an increase in with our drivers. And we're also going to be attentive to these folks that continue to text and drive on our roadways. I want it to be known to our citizens that we are serious about what we're going to be doing because we want our drivers to feel safe, to get to their destinations, and not have to deal with a tragedy. Our Click It or Ticket campaign is right around the corner. We'll be starting in May. So I want the drivers to be warned that you're going to see more police and more law enforcement officers on our roadways. We're going to deal with this risky behavior that we're seeing. We're going to deal with it in an appropriate manner, whether that means having to write a citation or that person taking a trip to jail. We have already lost 23 people this year in the Knoxville area. And you know one life lost is one too many. So my message to our drivers is let's work together to be safer drivers on our roadways. Let's make it a safe place for all of us to travel through, to get home safely, and to do the things that we have planned. I just don't want us to have to be the ones to continue coming to your door and knocking on it, whether it's in the evening, early morning hours, to have to tell you that your loved one has been killed in a fatality, either at their own hands or at the hands of a drunk driver. So I hope our Tennessee drivers will just be wise, don't drink and drive, put your cell phones up. And the most important key is just that you wear your seatbelt. I'd like to take a moment now to introduce our director, Director Kendall Poole. I really thank him for his time and for coming with us today. And so Director Poole, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, I just want to talk a little bit from the heart this morning. Steve has laid a lot of things out to you. Most people recognize the Governor's Highway Safety Office as Booze It and Lose It or Click It or Ticket, the media messages that you see across the state of Tennessee. And that's very, very important to us. But a lot of people don't realize is in that our 100% federally funded budget, that those media messages and our sponsorships only include 17% of our budget. 83% of our budget is dedicated toward grant funding that goes to enforcement. And let me tell you, it's pretty plain that our media messages have been effective over the course of the years. We've won many awards for radio and TV commercials, and that's great. We're proud of that fact. But all of those messages fall on deaf ears if you didn't have law enforcement folks, the men and women who are behind me, that really back up that educational message. because we're in the business to save lives across the state of Tennessee. That's what we're here to do. The good news is that over the course of the last 7 years, fatalities have been reduced over 30% in the state of Tennessee. That's a phenomenal number. Our number, in fact, in 2011 was our lowest number on record since 1962, and we're proud of that fact. We've actually doubled the national decrease over that same time period, the last 7 years. So we're doing some great work in the state of Tennessee. Unfortunately, we had a slight uptick last year. And I want to really congratulate Steve Dillard, who you just heard from, for his proactive approach in dealing with these tragedies, senseless tragedies in many cases, where we can develop proactive law enforcement approaches to continue to bring those numbers down. The good news, again, is the fact that so far in 2013, as of yesterday, we were minus 32 fatalities compared to this same time last year. So in not even 3 months, we've already brought that total down by 32. So this is going to keep the pressure on for the rest of the year. And Steve mentioned there's impaired driving, seat belts, booze belts and speed are the things that are always the most important things to us across the state of Tennessee. But we've got something that's cropped up obviously in the last few years, and that's distracted driving. When most of us were learning how to drive, distracted driving meant fiddling with the radio knobs or reading the sports page or putting on your makeup. And now all the technology that's made our lives so much easier is also another cause for distraction. You know, Steve mentioned, if you take your eyes off the road to send or receive a text, studies have shown that that's the length of a football field that you take your eyes off of the road. So think about traveling the length of a football field without your eyes on the road. And then you have no control whatsoever. So we're in this to educate, and then these folks are in the game to enforce. And that's what works hand in hand together. When you've got education, enforcement, safe roads, TDOT, and Commissioner John Schroer do a fantastic job of keeping our roads physically safe, and that's an important part to the game as well. But the proactive approach that we're taking here today with all of the sheriffs, the chiefs, the municipalities that are represented, Colonel Trott does a wonderful job, and good folks here at the THP District here in Knoxville do a fantastic job as well. We are here to relay a message, as Steve said, as we go into the warmer driving months, that a lot of this behavior is simply just not going to be tolerated. And that's a friendly warning. We want to keep everybody safe. We want people to adhere to the message because we know that it saves lives across the state of Tennessee. And that's what we're here to do. I want to introduce to you a very, very special partner, Captain David McGill with the Tennessee Highway Patrol here in the Knoxville District, and he's got some words that he wants to share with you as well.
Thank you, Director. Good morning. As Director Poole said, I'm David McGill, the District Captain of the Knoxville District here. First of all, I'd like to say on behalf of the Commander of the Tennessee Highway Patrol, Colonel Tracy Trott, I want to thank everyone for being here, all of our Governor's Highway Safety partners, our city and county partners, and especially to the media. You don't realize what a benefit you all are for us to get this message out to the motoring public. Our main responsibilities as police officers, state troopers, is to serve the citizens of this great state and keep our roadways safe, and for the visitors that even visit our great state. So I would like to say that the Tennessee Highway Patrol, the Knoxville District, the troopers here in this district are 100% behind the commitment with our local police departments, sheriff's departments, the Governor's Highway Safety Office, and the media to help save lives here in our district. You've heard the numbers of the fatal crashes and the alcohol-related crashes that for the past 3 years. And our goal is to decrease these fatal crashes, to remove impaired drivers, either alcohol or drug drivers, from the roadways in our district and across the state, and we'll put them in jail. You know, the seatbelt, we lose so many individuals by the most important thing of an automobile before it even starts up is the seatbelt. And our troopers are out working hard. Our seatbelt enforcement has increased by over 100% this year. And the education part is the most important, where we can get these individuals to buckle up. So I just want to say that the Tennessee Highway Patrol Knoxville District is very committed, and we will work with our city and counties, and we're asking for the media to support us to get this campaign out, where everyone will know that with the warmer months coming up, that strict enforcement will be taken, and we will not tolerate drunk drivers out here on the roadways taking innocent lives. So at this time, I'd like to introduce to you Lieutenant Haley from Blunt County's, or Merville PD. Blunt County, I'm sorry.
Lieutenant Randy Haley, Blunt County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Barone could not be here today because of attending the graduation of our Law Enforcement Training Academy this morning, but he did want me to say a few words on his behalf. Through the efforts of the Sheriff's Office working with the Governor's Highway Safety Office, Tennessee Highway Patrol, and local agencies within Blunt County, we have several checkpoints, saturations, different types of enforcement and education events that we have planned throughout the summer. As was mentioned earlier, a major concern is the high school students, and we have several events. One of our high schools, Heritage High School, is participating in the Battle of the Belts, and our focus is going to be to bring down the DUIs, speeding, seat belts, and the impaired driving, be it by drugs or alcohol. We will be out in full force this summer, and thanks to funds from the Governor's Highway Safety Office, that's what allows us to be able to do this extra effort and hopefully bring down the fatalities in Blunt County. We will be working with Maryville Police Department, Alcoa Police Department, and Townsend Police Department on a regular basis in partnership doing these checkpoints and saturations. I'd like to turn it over now to Sergeant Gary Kent at Sevier County.
On behalf of Sheriff Ron Seals of Sevier County and all of us here, we thank you for being here, because that shows us that you have a concern for traffic safety, and that's what we have a concern for. We have a unique situation in Sevier County in the respect that we not only deal with our locals, we have about just shy of 90,000 permanent residents. And with tourism, we can have anywhere between 150 to 250,000. There's 8 to 12 million people that visit Great Smoky Mountains National Park. And if you've driven on Highway 66 or you got stuck in traffic, then you know what we're talking about. We also have a problem with folks that come there because they're not familiar with our roadway structure, and they don't know how to drive on curvy roads, and they're distracted by where they're going because they don't know where they're going. And we have that issue, along with the other issues as far as distracted driving because of cell phones. On the way here, we were on the interstate, and a car started moving into my area, in my lane. And as we got by it, I looked over, and here's the driver like this. Now, I don't know whether he was just looking at his phone, or he didn't look like he was texting. He might have been reading something or dialing a number. But this is what we deal with in law enforcement, and this is what we're going to be about in Sevier County, about speeding, about distracted driving, about drunk driving, about seatbelts. And we are going to be out in force. Thanks to the Governor's Highway Safety Office, we are able to have a traffic division, and we have officers that concentrate daily on nothing but traffic enforcement. And they will be out and they will write. We're going to do all of these other events in cooperation with the Tennessee Highway Patrol, Captain David McGill, and Lieutenant Clinton Valentine, and Sergeant Ron McDonald, and yes, that is his name, Ron McDonald. We're grateful for the partnership that we have with them. They're always there to help. We couldn't do it without them and without their assistance. And GHSO, our partnership with the Government Highway Safety Office has not been a good one. It's been a great one, a fantastic partnership. You'll not find an individual more concerned and dedicated to traffic enforcement than Kendall Poole. And his staff, our law enforcement liaison, Steve Dillard, great partnership with them. We are so thankful for what they do for us, and they're always there to work with us. And we have partnered with them in these events so that we can try to do something about safety in traffic safety. The Berkeley blog had an article entitled, "What's a Life Worth?" It goes on primarily to talk about increasing the speed limit and what that causes. But somebody in the Berkeley blog wrote, estimated, an analysis estimated that a life is worth between $4 and $9 million. I looked at my checking account and I must have got left out of that somewhere. What is a life worth? To all of these officers here, it's a measure. You can't measure the cost of life. And one of the greatest PSAs that I've ever seen involves Chris Richardson of the Tennessee Highway Patrol. And he's asked, what is the most difficult thing about being a trooper? And he says the most difficult thing about being a trooper, the hardest thing, is to go to a house, knock on the door, and tell the people that live there that their loved one is never coming home. And then he goes on to say too many lives are lost by drinking and driving, texting and driving, and not wearing a seatbelt. And then he finishes, he says, please don't make me go tell your loved one you're not coming home. That's what we say as law enforcement. None of us want to go tell anyone's loved one that their loved one is not coming home. That's the reason we're going to be out in force. If we write you a citation, nobody wants to be stopped. But if we write you a citation, it's to educate. It's not to punish. It's to help you. And if that saves a life, what's a life worth? I'd like to introduce to you Sheriff Robbie Goins of the Campbell County Sheriff's Office, and thank you.
Media, as you've already been thanked, but for coming out here this morning, it means a lot to us to get the message out. At the Sheriff's Department, we just really have limited funds, and I'm sure there's a lot of departments that do. And without the Tennessee Highway Patrol's help and the Governor's Highway Safety Office's help, we couldn't be doing what we're doing. Our DUIs in the past year alone have doubled, and it's well to do with what the Governor's Highway Safety Office has offered us, which is education, training for our officers. And we greatly appreciate them. We couldn't do it without them. You know, with that said, the DUIs that we've gotten, they're not something that we brag about. We wish we didn't have that many. But we're out there trying to keep our roads safe. And I'm sure I speak with it for everyone in here. It's something we don't want. We don't want fatalities. We're trying our best in Campbell County to educate people, our parents, our friends, our neighbors. You know, if you've had a drink, don't get behind the wheel. Don't even attempt it. We want parents to talk to their children about the texting and driving. Sit down, talk to them, let them know the dangers of it. You know, a vehicle's a weapon, and when it's out of control, somebody's going to get hurt. But I feel like we're making some progress. We've increased our patrols, our traffic patrol. We've got a DUI team now that does nothing but work DUIs, and we're going to continue to do so. And as Steve said earlier, traffic's going to pick up, more and more weather will bring people out. But we're going to be there trying our best to keep the roads safe for our people. Take the time, those seconds, it's not time, it's seconds to put your seatbelt on. That could change your whole world within just minutes of you leaving your driveway. But we're proud to be partnering with Highway Patrol, Governor's Highway Safety Office. Big help to us, a huge asset. And I'm going to turn it back over to Steve at this time.
Thank you, Sheriff. Well, as you can tell, we've got a plan, we've got a strategy, and it is our goal now to take this out to our drivers and to see East Tennessee be a safer place for everyone to travel through. I want to thank Ranger Stephen Kloster. He's with us with the National Park Service. We have been partnering with them for a little over a year. I know the National Park Service will be having some enforcement events as well coming up. Steve, we're glad to have you. And Lieutenant Ron Green with the Knoxville Police Department. Even though Knoxville is not one of our counties, we have a great relationship with the Knoxville Police Department. And Lieutenant Green does such a wonderful job with his staff, with his traffic officers, and I know he's working hard as well to make Knoxville roads safe. We've had 2 instances in the last 2 weeks in Knoxville where we've lost lives because of wrong way drivers. We want that to stop. So our message to our drivers, be safe, be conscious of what you're doing out here on the road, watch others around you, and please, please wear your seatbelt. I want to thank all these great professionals that are here today. As we conclude this press event, any of them are going to be available if you would like to talk to them, as well as Director Poole. And I want to say thank you to the media as well. Thank you all for taking time to come spend a little bit of time with us this morning and allow us to let you know sort of what our plan is. So at this point, our press event concludes, and thank you very much.